Welcome, friends. I have decided to do a series of stories that I tell around the fire, and some that I've never told about my life being in the circus, and different things that have happened to me in those times. Of course, you've got to realize the world of circus is very different than the normal world, as I call it, your day-to-day sticks and bricks life, getting up, going to work, coming home, kids, etc. I had all that, but just different. um, I've really enjoyed my life to the point of I'm excited to tell a few of these stories because I couldn't make this stuff up if I wanted to. And I haven't got a good enough imagination for that. I've got a good one. Don't get me wrong. I've got a great imagination, but many of the things that have happened to me, it's like you cannot make this stuff up. Well, one of the favorite stories that I'm not going to tell on this particular one is the ostrich story. I've actually had people sit around the fire and chant, ostrich, ostrich, because they want to hear that story. Now, I've told it when I've had a couple of shots of Fireball, which seems to be the better story, I think, or stone cold sober. Either way, it's a hilarious story, and I will eventually tell that story on this platform. The reason I have the candle going and the painting in the background, which is of the sage, elderly Native American women, is because I look pretty funny right now. I'm wearing a funky little hat because it's 35 degrees and I'm very cold. Well, not extremely cold. I'm cold. But I have this candle going, as you can see, and I'm doing all right. But I just didn't want to be on film telling the story, or any story right now, because I didn't sleep well last night. Anyway, let me call this the Attack of the Cheezeheads. This story is told among circus people that know me and know what I went through with this. And it's one of those stories circus people love to tell at a bar, around the fire. You know, did you hear what Penelope the clown went through the other day? Wah, ha, 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 ha. Okay. It's the same year as the ostrich story. So, that was definitely a year of eye-opening for me. Let's put it to you that way. All right, let me set up the situation. I have a circus truck that was formerly a U-Haul truck that has been revamped and repainted in the circus logo. Beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful how he had it painted. And it had the name of the circus on it. And I was hired to be the advanced clown, my daughter and I, Heidi. She was about 16, I think, at the time. And what they hired us to do was to be the advanced clowns. And that's to go about 2 weeks prior to the circus coming, to let people know that the circus is coming to town. And we're supposed to generate people to get excited. I go to the newspapers, I go to the TV stations, radio stations, newspaper, etc., and do interviews for all of those type things. And this particular circus had a petting zoo. And so I have never done a petting zoo before. I wanted to, how can I put it? I wanted to show them that I could do this. The circus world is very small. So when I say that, it seems so huge and everything, but excuse me. But if you mess up or you do a good job, either one, word gets out pretty quickly. Even before the internet and everything, it's a small world. Let's put it to you that way. So I wanted to do good. I was anxious to do this. I had never taken care of these type of animals. This was before the internet now. So I would go to the library and study what animals they were giving me to see what they ate, how to care for them properly, etc. And I did that. And so did Heidi, my daughter, who is an absolute animal lover. So when I got to the circus, come to find out what they consider a petting zoo and what I consider a petting zoo are two different things. They gave me a llama, an ostrich, 2 blue and gold macaws, 6 goats, 2 ducks, and a 26-foot python. Did I miss anybody? Let me think. Oh, yes, and a donkey. We cannot forget the donkey. Oh, boy. So they all traveled in a big trailer that we put, and we had huge corrals that we would put up for all of them to be able to interact with other people and stuff, except for the fact none of them were tame. The only ones I trusted with people were the goats and the ducks. And the others I had to put up big signs, do not get near, because the llama had a tendency to want to chest butt you. I got a picture of a big sign that says, "Do not get near the animals, danger." And I have a picture of a man with a 2-year-old that he held up to the llama with the signs right there saying not to do it. It was people like this that did it, and if they were spit on or anything of the like, they're the first one to scream bloody murder, call the cops, want to sue. And this is, of course, what I went through during the time of this. Well, anyway, Heidi and I got to the point where I could drive the truck. It was the biggest truck I've ever driven, number one. Number two, I had never pulled anything behind a truck that big either. And I didn't want to tell anyone that because I needed the job desperately. I had left my husband, who was very abusive, and I needed this job to try to earn a little bit of money where he wouldn't know where I was, etc., etc. So here we are, okay? Me, Heidi, and this truckload of animals. Well, everything went fairly decent, you know. I mean, we went here, there, and got a lot of publicity. I had my job. I did my job well, and people got to interact with the animals. They loved it. I loved it. Publicity was going well. And then I got into Wisconsin, which I love, by the way. In those days, this is how long ago it was, you could get a baker's dozen, which is 13, ears of corn for $1, freshly picked that morning. So I talked my children into thinking that sweet corn fresh picked was like candy. And it actually was. It's very sweet. If you ever get fresh corn like that, fresh picked, you can't beat it. And nothing in the supermarkets can even come close. So we were enjoying, and brats. Oh my God, the brats in Wisconsin. And the cheese curds. Don't get me started on the cheese curds. Oh my goodness, I'd walk a mile for those things. So with all of that said, and we were enjoying our time and everything, I got into a certain town in Wisconsin, which I would do often, would call up the police department, let them know that I was in town, what I was up to, and what I was doing, promoting. and if they knew of a safe place for us to park with all these animals and, where I wouldn't be harassed. There was a budget for RV parks, but I rarely used it if I didn't have to. So anyway, the police department directed me to this national park, I think it was. It was some type of something, state park, something there within their town. Beautiful, cute little place. Anyway, we rolled in there, and there was only one other family there that were in a tent, and they were homeless, obviously. They had 5 children, and she told me they couldn't find a place that would allow 5 children. And get this, they lived in this beautiful army tent. She had had a baby in that tent 2 days prior. Not kidding. So she had a brand new baby in that tent and 5 kids. Do you know what she did? She invited me and Heidi to dinner because she thought we'd be tired from all of our driving. If I'd pulled out a baby 2 days prior, holy crap, what a sweetheart. So we went over there and we got to talk to them and enjoy them all evening and laughed and had a fire, and the kids, I made them balloons, and I let the kids pet the animals, and oh, what a beautiful evening it was. And it was just us. It was me, Heidi, the animals, a big truck, and this tent. So, I forgot one little detail, because this will come into another story of how I was helped by a farmer locally after this incident. Okay, because of the truck and the way they had it and the way they redid it, I couldn't really lock it. So I didn't really think about it. I didn't think about being harassed or anything else like that. It was many years ago. So things like that were very rare. So after our wonderful evening and everything that we went through with this family and everything, we went to bed. There were bunk beds in the truck that were put in there from the circus. And we had a little living area in the truck. And then behind the living area, which was totally walled off, you can't smell or hear much of anything, were the animals. And then we had a trailer of animals hooked on. Okay. So we went to bed that evening, perfectly satisfied, had a lovely time with this family. Didn't think much about it. And then all of a sudden, about 2 a.m., I was in my bunk, but I could see out the windshield that there was a huge bonfire. Maybe 100 yards, 200 yards from us. Huge. And I thought, wow, that's kind of bizarre. And I didn't think a whole lot of it, so I was just kind of laying there trying to go back to sleep. When all of a sudden, I heard on the outside of the truck, "Hey, you guys, there's an ostrich and all kinds of animals in this truck." And I could feel they got on the truck in the back, the trailer. Yes. So I told Heidi, I said, "Heidi, get up." And we always slept in clothes. We didn't sleep in, jammies or anything. We always slept in clothes because that's what you did on the road, living as we did. And once I felt that and heard that, I looked around, and there was about 15 teenagers or people in their early 20s surrounding the truck. Then there were people on both sides of the truck pushing it back and forth, back and forth. And what they had been having some fun with some liquor, believe you me, and they were going, "Come on, circus people, let's party." So they're shoving it, going back and forth, trying to get us up to party with them. And all I'm doing is trying to tell Heidi, "Get ready, we're leaving. There's trouble." Then I heard, because there are no locks on anything, because I didn't have locks at the time. Then I heard, "Has anybody ever ridden an ostrich? Let's ride the ostrich." And I went, OMG. So by that time, I was already up front. I never got out. Heidi never got out. She got in the passenger. And I could feel them on the trailer in the back. They hadn't opened anything yet, but they were getting ready to. I gunned it. I took off, and I flew those people off the trailer, off the side of the truck. I didn't know if I harmed them. Didn't care. I drove off at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know what time it was. To town. Called the police department and let them know what had happened to us. I was so freaked out. I was trying to keep my shit together for my daughter. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and so anyway, I called the police department, and I just chewed them a new asshole. I said, "You guys told me that I'd be safe there, and all these crazy people came." And they went over there, and they said, "Oh, they didn't mean any harm. They're just some local guys that, nah. And they just went, and I went, "I don't care who they are. They scared the hell out of me. They traumatized my animals, and they did nothing." Well, what could they do, really? And they really hadn't done anything in particular other than harass us. So that I call the attack of the Cheezeheads. And if you're from Wisconsin, I mean nothing by it, because I love your brats, I love your cheese and cheese curds. There's much about Wisconsin that I love dearly, so don't get me wrong. But that is one of the stories. And of course, depending on who tells the story, it gets embellished. But that's what really happened. But there's been a couple people tell that story throughout the years, man, that just, the embellishment, it's much better than what really happened. But we made it. Life is good. And for the next story, let's just put it this way. Word around town got out about what happened. And I had a farmer come to my rescue. And that's a whole different story. I ended up staying 2 weeks with him. And what an adventure that was. We got to see the birth of a horse. I got to see horse poop. I don't even know what it's called. Conveyor belt. A conveyor belt where you put horse poop on it and the conveyor belt takes it to a silo. I've never seen anything like it, being a city girl. So all of this fun stuff was just exciting. I learned so much on the road, and so did my daughter, my son. They learned stories and things that, you know, you can read them 1,000 times, but being there is just amazing. Going through Kentucky and the horses there. I mean, every state that we went in, there were wonderful people everywhere. I mean, the attack of the Cheezeheads is one of the rare times that I was actually scared on the road. And probably nothing to worry about if I'd have come out and partied with them a little or anything. But yet, I have a 16-year-old daughter with me, and that wouldn't have been the thing to do. Let's put it to you that way. But anyway, I thought I'd let you know about that. All did work out well. The police department apologized, and they actually hosted me for breakfast. And just to let you know, a lot of people talk about the police department, fire departments, all of that. But every town that I went to, if I was compelled, I would go to the fire department or police department. And there were many times where they just let me plug into the parking lot and just said, why don't you stay here? You'll be safe. We'll take care of you. So, we have heroes everywhere. Just look for them. And if you need something, ask. Put it out in the universe. You know what? If you've got a good heart and you mean no harm, the universe takes pretty good care of you, I think. But make smart decisions, too. You can't rely on all of that. You got to be smart here in the road. And as people are learning, the RTR, I think, is starting today. WRTR, I'm not sure. Either way, go learn. Go learn how it is to be on the road. Things have changed way different since then. So I've had to be schooled about how things are nowadays. Truly. I don't know it all. I'm learning all the new gadgets that come out, all the new solar that comes out. And I've had a lot of help throughout my career and my life. And without that help, I wouldn't be here. So I'm very grateful. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe and tell your friends. Attack of the Cheezeheads! Whee!